We just got off of the shock dyno, and we are now going to work with the DSC controller on the desktop. Now we're off to the DSC software to give you an idea of how the Viper will respond to the two-position type of shock and how we can take advantage of a control strategy. So rather than the stock Viper being either touring or sport and having one of the two graphs that you saw on the dyno, how can we combine them? Well, this is how. Okay, first we'll start with the G-force table. That is this very first table that you're going to see. You'll see that in the center of the table we're in the 25% range, and you can see by the gray tones how it blends out to 80% in these ranges. So what that is telling you is not only can you blend in these ranges, which is switching from one graph to the next, but you could also, let's say, go into a right-hand corner and you could have the left front shock triggering the sport mode so that you're holding it up, but the right front could be softer so you can go over curbing at the racetrack. So yes, you can make performance out of a two-position shock. No, you can't do it as well as the Tractive by any means, but you can certainly do it better than the way that the factory had designed and set this up to being only a pure two-position shock. The next part of what this means, 25%, 80%, okay, this is a percentage of the shock calibration table. That is this table. There's 0%. This is 100%, obviously 50 in the middle. So up to 50, you can see there is no current right here. But when you start getting into the 200 milliamps, this triggers the sport mode. This will trigger this one. So you can then take this and reel it back to this area, and you'll know that when you're at 0.8 of a G on the non-sport mode, so this is less aggressive because it is the touring map, so I want it to ride nicely, but yet when you really request more out of the car and you're into 0.8 of a G, so you're near the maximum grip level of the tire, you start getting the sport characteristic of the two-position damper. So now let's fast forward really fast to the sport mode. So in the sport mode, you have a much more aggressive G table. You can see that you will immediately, once you're outside of like 0.6 of a G, you will start to request a more sporty type of curve, or the sport curve. So you don't have to go out to 0.8 of a G. You can find it at 0.6 of a G. There's another interesting feature I'm going to show you at the same time, so you understand that in your sport mode you can have it ride nice, but the second you're braking hard, you're accelerating hard, you're leaning on the car, you are requesting the other section of the damper. But you don't necessarily have to have all four corners being the same. Like in this scenario right here, the left front, so you're in a hard right-hand corner, the left front is loaded hard and the right front is at full soft. So the incredible feature about the DSC is that you can literally combine the two curves that this two-position damper offers. Notice, we're in this block right here, we're in a hard right-hand corner. We have just started to initialize a nice hard right-hand corner. We're at 0.6 of a G. The left front damper is at 70%, the right front is at 40%. So what that means is it offers you the most amount of front grip because the right shock is in the soft range. The left shock is in the firm range, which offers you the support in the left front damper. So this allows the car to turn in better. The same thing with the back end of the car. You'll notice that it allows the car to rotate, to start to turn. In some of the maps we'll actually have the rear be the same, because on some road race tracks you will want to have the high-speed range in this right rear, which is the rebound range. But in some tracks that's a bad thing. It'll start to weight jack and make it feel improper. Now here's a very important feature. The acceleration table. This is a DSC only exclusive. Nobody else has done this. This is in the factory Viper. So when you are going less than 1 mile an hour, so the car is stopped, and the clutch and the brake pressure is greater than 25 bar, so it's not much pressure, you then push the clutch, blip the throttle past 20% throttle, so it's just a quick stab of the throttle, and you will right now be in the launch mode. What the launch mode is that The rear shock, you can see, is at 25%, so it's nice and soft. Remember the low speed nose? It's real soft, so the tire gets a big bite out of the pavement. The front damper is at 75, so you got all that rebound holding the front end down, so the weight transfer isn't too fast. The second the car is released and the car climbs past 1 mile an hour, where it sees a G-force greater than 1 to 2/10, the timer starts. The timer is 1,000 milliseconds, so that's 1 full second. So that's a little more than halfway through the 60 foot. So what it does is it climbs into this area, which means that it just blends into the normal G table. So in other words, when you launch, you've got a stiff front rebound, you've got a soft compression, so you can get the tire to really hit hard, the tire. And then the second the tire starts hitting, you can start your weight transfer. And you can really control that transfer here with your timer. So anyhow, that's the drag race mode, and that gives you an idea of how you can use this 2-position shock in the drag race mode. Very effective, works extremely well. So you are now in a 2-position. And you can see that it offers you the opportunity to tune your launch mode, but you can see that's already done for you. We just finished discussing the launch mode on the Dodge Viper, and this launch mode is available in other cars. Here's an interesting tidbit that I thought I would share with everybody. And you'll know that you have 1.8.3 because this mode is really available only on 1.8.3, and it's about open help dialogue. And what you have now is you have a full help screen, and if you're not sure, always feel free to get a hold of us here. All in the help section. All of this is available in 1.8.3. It's a huge jump over our other software. I invite you to go to the DSCsport and download 1.8.3. I am Mike Levitas, and I thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the tuning session.